Hi everyone, Christina here. Welcome to another card video at my YouTube channel and blog. Today I'm using the Honey Bunny stamp set from Mama Elephant. This is an older stamp set, but I've never used it and I really wanted to try it out today. So I'm starting out by stamping the two bunnies images in coffee archival ink from Ranger. I'm going to be stamping it on some Arches hot press watercolor paper. I'm using this particular watercolor paper because it's really smooth and it gives me a really great stamped line. I really like to use this watercolor paper when I'm going to be doing some no-line coloring. So because I'm doing no-line coloring, I stamped it off twice and I'm going to be using the lighter of the two stampings. Starting out with some Distress ink. This is Scattered Straw and Brushed Corduroy, and I've just pressed those ink pads onto a laminated piece of white cardstock. I'm using this as my kind of DIY palette. I like to use it because it's convenient and the white color makes it so I can see the actual colors that I'm watercoloring with, as opposed to using a different colored palette or even a craft sheet, which is a really light neutral brown color, but I don't feel like I can really see how dark the colors are going to be when I paint, when I'm pulling colors off of that as a palette. So I'm using just a little bit of water and a paintbrush here. This is a size, I think it's a size 2 round brush. You can use whatever size brush you want to use, just something that's small enough to get in on this image here. And I'm basically doing one coat of Scattered Straw, and I'm putting the color down in the areas that would be the darkest first, and then I'm pulling the color away from the edges with a little bit of water. So now I'm going to put some Brushed Corduroy on top, and this is going to add the shading. When I do painting with distress markers or distress inks or anything like that, or even just watercoloring in general, I really like to use two different colors, a lighter color and then a darker color, and this gives a little bit of depth to your painting. So if you're getting into watercoloring images and you're having trouble getting some contrast on your images because you can't get those darkest areas dark enough, try adding another color because that gives it a little bit more depth, and you can add the darker color on top and it's a little bit easier to get those contrasts. So like I did before with the Scattered Straw, the areas that I want to be darkest, I'm adding the Brushed Corduroy kind of full strength. And then after I have that on there, I'm dipping my brush in my water and pinching it off with my fingertips with my other hand, and then bringing it in and pulling that color in from the darkest that I've painted on previous. And don't be afraid to leave kind of harsher edges like I did right there on the center of this bunny's head, because that's really that watercolor look that you want. I think it looks really neat. So I'm adding more dark areas, and I decided to go ahead and emphasize the stitching on the image just because I thought it would look neat to have a little bit more detail right there and have it look like the stitching was sort of indented in on the bunny. I thought it just looked really cool. So I'm adding those darker areas on there, and I'll pull out the color from those edges a tiny bit as well, just so it's not such a harsh line. So I'm going to be coloring the other bunny in a very similar manner, but I'm going to be using two different colors of ink. First, I'm going to dry off that bunny with my heat tool, make sure it's completely dry, and then come in with Victorian Velvet and Tattered Rose. So I'm starting with Tattered Rose, which is the lighter of the two colors, and I'll hit that with my heat tool to dry it completely, and then I'm coming in with the darker color. That's the other thing I wanted to mention is when you change colors, make sure you dry your piece in between, because otherwise the darker color will start to pull up the lighter color and then it gets a little bit muddy and you might not get such nice edges. So I'm adding in that Victorian Velvet, and I really like these two colors together. It has kind of a rosy pink look once it's all done, but it has those darker areas, which is really essential for establishing kind of like the three-dimensionality of the image that you're coloring. So I'm adding some more of that darker color just along the ears and also the stitching lines like I did with the previous bunny. And then I'll go ahead and soften those lines with a little bit of water. And I also painted their little tails and then hit it with my heat tool until it was completely dry. So now that this is dry, I'm cutting it out with my scissors. I'm leaving a little tiny bit of a border around the outside edge. I did this because I'm planning to put this on top of a watercolor piece, and that outer line is going to really emphasize the bunnies. Okay, so now this watercolor piece. I'm going to do a little bit of watercoloring with distress inks as well. So I've taped my watercolor panel down to a board. This is actually 5x7 Strathmore cold press watercolor paper. So this paper has more texture to it. And I'm using 3 different colors of distress ink. I'm using tumbled glass, peacock feathers, and also a little bit of chipped sapphire. And this is a really great combination when you want to just have nice dreamlike blues. It's great for seascapes or skies, things like that. This time I'm just going to do a really watercolory abstract background. We'll wet my watercolor paper and I'm going to come in with the lightest shade, which is tumbled glass. And I'm just putting it on here kind of halfway down the piece of watercolor paper, and I'm keeping that top portion completely free of any color. Bringing in some peacock feathers now. And I'm adding this color wet on wet because it's going to soften the edges and it's also going to lighten the colors a little bit as they dry. It's going to give me a really good base color for when I paint on top of it as well to get some of that real traditional watercolor look. So I'm painting that on. Then I'm going to hit this with my heat tool to help everything dry, and it's going to kind of bloom out a little bit and soften all those edges. So now I'm going to come in with the same exact colors kind of over top, and I'm going to add some detail over top of this, and it's going to give it a really watercolored look. It's going to look really cool. And especially when you're doing this with just distress inks, it pulls the ink that's beneath it a little bit and it mixes it, so you get almost additional color combinations. So I'm coming in with that chipped sapphire. I'm also making sure to leave some gaps. I'm not painting completely over this. And that makes it so that as it dries, it gets those kind of like, it pushes the ink to the edges and it gets those harsh lines. I think it's look really cool. So I'm going to sprinkle on some water droplets with my hand. I've sprayed my hand with my spray bottle, and then I'm just letting those water droplets fall onto the piece. I'm picking it up with my paper towel, and that kind of bleaches out that distress color. You guys have seen me do this technique quite a bit in the past, and I just can't get over it. It's so lovely. I love it. So now I'm flicking my fingertips a little bit more with some ink. This gives me a little bit of a different shape to the water droplets, and I can also help direct it a little bit more toward the top of that colored area. So I'll heat set that or help it dry with my heat tool. And then I'm ready to take that off the board and move on with the rest of the card. So I've cut it down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm taking a piece of acetate over the top, and I'm going to take that to my sewing machine and sew it like an opened top end pocket. So I've just sewed the 3 sides, the 2 sides and the bottom, putting sequins inside. This is going to be a full card shaker. So I'm just adding all of those sequins inside. They're not going to move around too much just because there's, it's sewn and it's really tight, but it's going to look really cool once it's done. So they moved around quite a bit here, but after I put it through my sewing machine and closed up that top edge, it was a little bit tighter so they don't move around quite as much. You can still get things to move, but they're most likely going to stay near the edges, which I think looks really pretty. So I have 4 of these die cut friend greetings here. These are from Mama Elephant, and I just ran that through my die cutting machine 4 times. And I'm adhering all 4 of them on top of each other. This is going to create some dimension because I wanted to have this popped up off the surface of the card, but it's a little bit too dainty and intricate to put foam adhesive behind it. So the easiest way to deal with that is to go ahead and cut it multiple times and then adhere them together. Before I adhere that down, I'm going to put it on my card base here just so it's a little easier to adhere everything down. So I created a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch top folding card using my scoring board, my mini scoring board, and also some Neenah Solarite cardstock. So I put some Tombow Extreme adhesive on the front of that card and then pressed the shaker piece over the top. Now I'm adding some more dots of that Ranger Multimedia Matte on the back of that friend piece and then putting that directly down onto the card front. So I made sure to save the little tiny dot for the eye, and I adhered that directly onto the card front. I didn't want to have to try to glue all 4 of them together without having them already on the card. Then I put some foam adhesive on the 2 little bunnies, and I'm going to be placing that right over the top of friend or above friend, and it just nestles in perfectly right over the last part of that word. I think it turned out super, super cute. So I'm going to add a little bit of detail by putting a heart over to the side. I cut 4 hearts using the Simon Says Stamp Mini Heart die set, and then stacked them just like I did with the Friend die cut. And just put that on, and now the card is completely finished. It doesn't shake a whole lot around, but it does a little bit. I think it looks kind of great because especially if you stand up the card on its own, all the shaker bits don't fall to the bottom. So thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you guys in the next card video. On screen right now are 3 more card videos for you to check out. I thought you just might be interested in these. They're all shaker cards, and that first one actually has a sewn shaker card just like I did on today's card. So thank you so much for watching. I will catch you guys on Friday for a new video. In the meantime, you can see me on social media at Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Pinterest. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.